Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. So today I want to talk about the biggest losers from the 2022 NBA draft, and I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to get right into it because this is going to be probably a little bit of a longer video. But first team that is the biggest loser for the 2022 NBA draft is the Utah Jazz. I'm going to call it what it is. Utah didn't have a single pick in this draft. I think they had a second round pick, but they didn't have a first round pick at all. Actually, I don't think they had any pick in this draft. I could be wrong. But they didn't even have a first round pick. I think their first pick came at like in the late 30s, early 40s. And this was a team that I thought could have really benefited from this draft. Like, they could have maybe unloaded Michael Conley to get, at least a first round pick or something, like a late first rounder, early second rounder maybe. And they could have freed up that contract space and then had the ability to sign somebody in free agency, like maybe a Colin Sexton or something like that. And they decided, fuck it, we're not going to do anything. And I think they're major losers because of it. I mean, this is a team that clearly needs a retool. They clearly need perimeter defense, and they did nothing. And I just think to myself, even the fucking Lakers found a way to get involved. I mean, they traded for the 35th pick, and, they ended up getting a guy. I think it was Christian Maxey or some shit like that. I'm not sure. I didn't pay attention to that pick, really. I just know they traded in to get a guy. And I just think to myself, Utah was a team that could have really benefited from this draft because there was a lot of decent perimeter defenders in here. I mean, you have Johnny Davis, who was in there, Malachi Branham, Jeremy Shohan, who else? Tari Eason, if I'm saying that correctly. Like, there was a couple guys in the first round I think they could have fucked around and gotten to the first round and potentially traded for. So they didn't do that. And if it wasn't there that they could have gotten in, I mean, they could have gotten into the draft in the 20s at least and gotten a guy like maybe David Roddy or somebody like that. Just somebody to help that fucking team out. And they did nothing. I don't even think they even fucking tried. So Utah is my first loser in this draft. Just because they did nothing. The second biggest loser of this draft is my team, the Indiana Pacers, okay? And I'm going to tell you why the Indiana Pacers are losers in this one. It's not for the reason that you'll think. It's because, yes, they did get Benedict Mathurin, okay? Benedict Mathurin is a great pick for them. I think he's going to be a really good player, but they failed to move Miles Turner, Malcolm Brogdon, and Buddy Hield, okay? They failed to move all of those guys. Okay, they didn't even move one of them. And everybody was saying Malcolm Brogdon could go during the draft. Miles Turner could potentially go in the draft. And instead, what they did was not make any moves at all. I'm sure maybe they tried, but it's just the idea. One of the teams that was rumored to be in the hunt for Miles Turner was the Charlotte Hornets. And now that they took Mark Williams, they don't fucking need Miles Turner. Because I think Mark Williams is going to be a better player than Miles Turner by his second year in the fucking league. So, and I also think that Miles Turner's contract is kind of so absurd that teams aren't willing to trade for him. There are a couple teams that could use Miles Turner. A couple teams that come to mind immediately. The New York Knicks, maybe the Houston Rockets, the Golden State Warriors, the San Antonio Spurs, maybe. I don't like the fit for them, but they do need a big man. And They couldn't make that happen. They couldn't trade Malcolm Brogdon. I mean, to be honest with you, the Utah Jazz, what they should have done was offered Mike Conley and a future first rounder for Malcolm Brogdon. We could have taken Mike Conley for 1 year, got rid of Mike Conley, getting rid of Brogdon's extended contract, and had some money to play with this upcoming offseason. Nope. Utah didn't want to do that. And I think Malcolm Brogdon would maybe help that roster out a lot. Malcolm Brogdon's not the greatest defender in the world. He kind of had a shitty season this past year. Yes, he has injury concerns, but Mike Conley gave you a fucking burger in the playoffs this year, okay? Like, he literally had one game where he scored 0 fucking points. He did, like, borderline nothing for them. And I think, honestly, Malcolm Brogdon is an upgrade from Mike Conley any day of the week at this point in Mike Conley's career. That's my personal opinion. So, yeah, the Indiana Pacers are on my shit list because they didn't move anybody, and this was, I think, their best time to do it, and they didn't do it. So now I think going forward, I think they're going to wait too long to move guys like Buddy Hield, Malcolm Brogdon, and Miles Turner, and they're going to get fucking nothing in return for it. That's what I think is going to happen. I hope and pray that I'm wrong, but to me, this was the night. You know what I'm saying? This was the time to move those guys, and they didn't move even one of them. If they even would have moved one person, okay? Malcolm Brogdon, Buddy Hield, or Miles Turner, just one of them, I would have been happy with it. But they didn't manage to do it, so I don't know what the fuck we're doing. Like, Buddy Hield was a guy the Lakers were incredibly interested in, and they couldn't make anything happen with that. They couldn't make a 3-team deal happen, so I don't know, man. I don't know what the Pacers are doing, but it's definitely fucking interesting because I don't know what's going on. The next team that I have, the third biggest loser of this draft, is the Portland Trail Blazers. And the reason I say the Portland Trail Blazers is because they kind of completely misused their pick. I get it, they drafted Shadon Sharpe, and there's like a portion of the population out there that thinks Shadon Sharpe is the next fucking Kobe Bryant. I don't see it, okay? Yes, he's a 3-level scorer, but his ball handling is kind of shit when he gets put up against a good defender, and his defense is not what people claim it to be. Oh, he could switch 1 through 5. Yeah, in what fucking world, okay? He's 6'6", okay? He's not Kawhi Leonard or somebody like that, okay? He's not Draymond Green. So, I don't know where people are pulling that from. But they drafted Shadon Sharpe, and my biggest problem with drafting Shadon Sharpe is this, okay? First of all, the Portland Trail Blazers tried all day yesterday to trade that 7th pick for OG Anunoby. I mean, they were trying left and right to land OG Anunoby. So what does this tell me? This to me, okay? This tells me that Portland believes OG Anunoby was a better player for them, not only in the short term, but the long term, because OG Anunoby has an extended deal that goes through, I think, 2024. So they clearly wanted OG Anunoby for defense and offense, and he would have been a nice piece for them. But now they have Shadon Sharpe, who's a project, who, I'm going to be honest, I don't think is going to be able to play much in the league next year, his first year. Honestly, my personal opinion on Shadon Sharpe is he's going to do well in the summer league, maybe, because he's going against other college players, maybe. Who knows how well he'll even do in the summer league. I kind of think Shadon Sharpe is going to bust. That's my personal opinion. I don't think he's as good as people make him out to be. I don't think his draft stock was justified. There's a lot of reasons I don't like Shadon Sharpe. And I just think instead of Portland taking a guy like Jalen Duren or Johnny Davis, somebody that they could have plugged into their roster and used immediately. Johnny Davis can create his own shot. He can shoot the 3 to some extent. He plays defense. And they took Shadon Sharpe. They took the project. And what I think they're attempting to do is take Shadon Sharpe in hopes that another team values him more than they do. Because I honestly would have liked Shadon Sharpe better going to a team like the Spurs, or a team like Miami, or a team like Oklahoma City. You know, a team that has a bit of a history of developing players better than Portland does. And I just think to myself, I have a feeling what Portland's plan is, or what their hopes are that Shadon Sharpe absolutely lights it up in the fucking summer league, which starts in the next 2 weeks here, and that a team sees him as an interesting enough prospect or interesting enough as a player to want to trade for him. Because Shadon Sharpe does not fit their timetable. It does not fit what they're trying to do. I don't see him starting ahead of Anthony Simons. I really think Anthony Simons and Damian Lillard are going to be the starters this year, so maybe Shadon Sharpe is their 6th man. I don't know, but it's just the idea to me, for a 7th pick, they took the riskiest guy in the fucking draft at that pick, and I guess, I don't know, I guess they have a high risk tolerance, but I just think to myself, Jalen Williams out of Santa Clara would have probably been a safer pick, and they let him go to OKC. So, I don't know. Obviously, Jalen Williams, I don't think, was a top 10 prospect, but when it's all said and done and we're done with this draft and we look down the road a couple years from now, I think we'll all be able to say that Jalen Williams was one of the better players to come out of this draft. So that's why I think Portland is a loser here, because I felt like Shadon Sharpe went too early. I think he was a guy that could have went around maybe the 12 to 10 range, or maybe 12 to 8 range. You know what I'm saying? That's where I would have expected him to go. But to go at 7, I just felt was way too early. So that's my opinion on the Portland Trail Blazers and their pick. The last team that I felt was a loser in this draft, and it's not so much about the players they got, but more so about their ability to fill their needs and where they drafted, is the San Antonio Spurs. I feel like they're losers because I'm just going to read this off to you, okay? This is who I would have taken, okay? With the 9th pick, I would have taken Jalen Duren. Okay, I would have taken Jalen Duren at the 9th pick to fill your fucking gaping hole at center. Okay, I know you have what's his name, Jakob Podol at center, but he's only got 1 year left on his deal. And Jalen Duren and Mark Williams are both very good centers. I would argue Mark Williams is going to be one of those guys that we look back on this draft in the next 3 to 4 years and say, Mark Williams should have went in the top 10, maybe even in the top 5. And that's a bold take, but I don't really give a fuck. They could have taken Jalen Duren, and they chose not to. And a lot of mock drafts had Jalen Duren going there at 9. Instead, they took Jeremy Shohan, who I think they reached on. I understand why they reached on him, but I just don't think Jeremy Shohan's going to be the immediate contributor that the Spurs, or at least Spurs fans, are expecting him to be. Yes, he has a lot of very high upside. He's a very versatile player. He's a guy who can switch 1 through 5. The shooting is not all there, but I understand why the Spurs took him, because I think they're going to try to turn him into the next Kawhi Leonard, so that's why I think they took Jeremy Shohan. And with the 20th pick, I think they got insanely fucking lucky that Malachi Branham was there at 20th. Because what I would have done, and let's be honest, if he wasn't there, I think this completely saved their draft, because Malachi Branham is a solid player. He's a guy that I think we'll see should have went higher in this draft by the time it's all said and done. But if the Spurs don't get Malachi Branham there at 20th, this is a shit draft for them. I mean, what I probably would have done if I was the Spurs, seeing as I don't think Malachi Branham would have been there in a perfect world, what I had the Spurs taking, and what I probably would have done, was take Jalen Duren, Kendall Brown out of Oregon, and then taking Blake Wesley. Because I honestly believe they got incredibly lucky that Malachi Branham was there at 20. I really do. I think they got incredibly fucking lucky, because what I had them taking, like I said, was Jalen Duren, Kendall Brown, and Blake Wesley. And Kendall Brown went to the Pacers. He fell in the draft, and he was a dude that I'm like, Kendall Brown, man, he's really athletic. If he goes to the San Antonio Spurs, he could end up being a very, very good player. So they got the Spurs. The only reason I have them on this list as losers is because their picks were just shitty. Okay, like, I guess you could say the mentality behind their picks was shitty. They reached for Jeremy Shohan, and when they reached for Jeremy Shohan, I was like, okay, it is what it is. But then at 20, getting Malachi Branham saved their ass. So I was kind of like, just because, I don't know how to say it. They mispicked, I guess you could say. Like, they were a team that should have done one thing and did another, and it just happened to pan out. Other than that, I think it was kind of a shitty... I can't even say that they were losers, because like they did get some decent players, but it's like they didn't fill their needs either. You know what I'm saying? They really needed a center, and they didn't fill that need. And I guess if Jeremy Shohan does end up being the next Kawhi Leonard, then yeah, it was a good pick. But I just think to myself, you should have taken Jalen Duren at number 9. At 20th, you could have gotten Kendall Brown. And at 25th, yeah, you still got Blake Wesley. But if you really wanted a versatile player, you could have gotten Wendell Moore Jr. So I'm like, and it's not like the Spurs are bad at developing players. They're pretty fucking good at it, actually. So I just think to myself, like, this could have... The only reason I have them there is because this could have went completely south for them if they don't land Malachi Branham at 20. So, I think they kind of drafted out of order in the fact that they could have gotten one of their versatile guys in the 20s, and they picked him at number 9. And so, that was a bit of a reach. But you know what? If you like your guy, you like him. Okay, Oklahoma City traded, 2 or 3 first-round picks for Ousmane Dieng. So I'm like, teams like who they like, right? But I don't know. I just don't like the way that San Antonio went about their draft. So anyway, guys, that's it for me. Tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on this. Helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report. And I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.